Hi, I'm Julie. This is a grounding Yin Yoga sequence for your lower body. This is a great sequence to do if you're feeling restless, anxious, or impatient. We're not going to be moving a whole lot in this Yin Yoga sequence, so grab some socks or a blanket or a jacket to get comfortable. Grab some pillows and blankets and yoga blocks if you have them. If you don't, anything block shaped like books that come in box sets are a great substitute. And you're also going to need a strap or something strap-like, so a towel or a strap will work. A towel or a belt will work just fine. So for our first pose, we're going to go into child's pose. So knees can be as wide as the mat or together, and you're going to lower the body forward. Your hands can be facing down in front of you. You can micro bend the elbows, taking some of the tension out of the shoulders. Maybe wiggle the hips side to side and get settled here. And noticing the energy that you've brought to this first pose. Notice if you're feeling restless or anxious to get out of the pose. But allow gravity to help you here. Feel the pressure of your forehead, the third eye, pressing into the mat, or a block underneath is good. Allow gravity to receive you here. And breathing into the back body. If your mind starts to wander, come back to the breath, finding inhales and exhales equal length through the nose. Noticing if you are feeling any tension releasing, and if not, you're welcome to just use the mantra today of let go. Just let go. Taking 5 more deep breaths here. Slowly press into the hands. Walk the hands back to the seat. Keeping your eyes closed, sit here for a moment, observing the after effects of the pose. Next, coming into butterfly pose. So it's always nice to have a blanket or a towel, something that you can prop up your seat on. So you're just going to sit on the edge and taking soles of the feet together. You can have your feet away from you in more of a wider diamond, or you can bring them a bit closer into you, whatever your preference is. And take a deep breath in and exhaling. It's like your rag doll just folding forward. And you can take a block and place it underneath the forehead, maybe resting on a block. Or you can stack a couple of blocks. It's always nice to have two and stack them in a T shape. Noticing if you're pressing out of the pose, it's nice to take hands face up and really allow gravity to work here. One of the principles of Yin Yoga is to come to your edge. So come to your first edge and remain here still for some time. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling sensation? In this pose, you may be feeling it anywhere along the back body or the inner seam of the legs. Settle into your breathing and allow your awareness to follow the sensation. After some time, you may notice the body may be welcoming you or inviting you to explore the next edge. It's up to you to decide whether you want to go there. Slowly begin to deepen the breath. And use your hands to gently press you out of the pose. And coming back to seated. Maybe straighten one leg and then the other. It's a nice counter pose. You can take your knees in windshield wipers, allowing the legs to internally rotate after they've been externally rotated for so long. Maybe find a moment of stillness in the middle. And coming into the next pose, you can sit sideways along your mat and coming into wide-legged forward fold. You can take your right leg in. Inhale your right arm up and over as you allow yourself to sink into the left side. You can it's nice to have a block underneath. So you prop up your elbow. You can just rest your head on the block. Just breathing into the right side body. If the arm over top isn't serving you, you can let it go. Yin Yoga is very good at cultivating patience because unlike some of the more active yoga styles, we're not doing much. So it really confronts us with our mind, and if our mind seeks distractions, notice what you're feeling. And does taking deep breaths change anything? Notice if you feel fidgety when you come into a posture. Is that reflected at all in your life? Our yoga practice is great at mirroring how we tend to act off the mat. And coming out of the posture, use your hands to gently press your head. And press yourself up. You can take the left leg in and sit cross-legged for just a moment, noticing if you feel any difference between the left and right side. And coming into the other side, so extending the right leg long. So I'm not mirroring you, I'm doing my right side. And inhale that left arm up and over, taking that block with you if you used it on the first side, and finding the side bend on the other side. Finding where you want to place that left hand. I'm keeping mine on my left knee. And breathe into the pose. Yin Yoga works with the fascial connective tissues in the body, a spider web-like substance. So even though there's no muscular connection between the neck and the hip, you may be feeling almost a tension there. That's the fascia. Even though there's no muscular connection between the neck, the side of the neck and the hip, you may be feeling almost a tension, a resistance there. That's due to the connections of the fascia connective tissue. A spider web-like substance throughout the entire body and muscles. Allow gravity to help you in the pose. Take 5 last deep breaths. And pressing your hands into the mat to help yourself out of the pose. And sit in center for a moment. Just taking in the after effects. Grab hold of your blocks for the next pose and place them at the front of the mat on the highest setting. And coming onto all fours, you're going to step your left foot forward between your legs, coming into dragon pose. So your back foot can be toenails, the top of the foot pressing into the mat. And using your hands, keep yourself propped up, coming into baby dragon pose. And unlike low lunge in our hatha and vinyasa practices, allow yourself to sink down into the hips. And breathing into the front right psoas, the front right of the thigh, the front of the right thigh. If you're feeling a pinchy sensation in the left hip, you can heel toe the left foot out and take your hand to the inside of the leg. Some people have anatomy where they might feel a pinching sensation there. So Yin Yoga is a practice of stillness. And even though it's considered more of a still practice, it's not quite as relaxing as restorative yoga may be. This pose may be triggering for some. Allow your awareness to settle with sensation and use the breath. If you're feeling any pain, any burning, electrical, tingly sensations, back out of the pose. This isn't the time to go to your deepest variation of the pose. You want to be where you're comfortable. And if your body is inviting you to come a little bit deeper, you can take your blocks on a lower setting. It's nice to rest your chest on your thigh. Taking 5 more breaths here. Good. Now slowly pressing into the hands, very gently straighten the front leg. Ooh. You can tug it back and sitting on your heels for a moment. Notice how you feel. Notice any difference you feel on the left and right side. And coming into the pose on the other side. Taking your blocks in the highest setting, step your right foot forward. And it's totally normal to notice if one side feels different than the other. And find where you want to place your blocks and settle into the pose. Maybe take the first few minutes to just get comfortable, get any fidgets out before you find a place that you want to be still for a few moments. And maybe rock side to side gently until you find a place you want to be. Notice if you tend to want to go as deep as possible into the pose, or if you're someone who's more gentle with themselves. Your yoga practice is a great place for many insights. You can choose to relax the head if you'd like. And taking 5 last breaths here. And slowly push into the palms of your hands. And very gently straighten the front leg. And tuck it back to meet the left. Maybe take a few moments. If you're craving to do any counter moves like a twist, go for it. Walk and find yourself into a seated position. Take a few breaths here. And taking hold of the strap, lower yourself onto your back. And drop both knees into the chest. Just rock side to side. Just giving your lower back a little massage. And extend the left leg long. And grab a hold of the strap and loop it around the right sole of foot. And take your sole of the foot to face the ceiling. Flex the toes back. And hold low on the strap so that your elbows and shoulder blades are relaxed on the mat. And this is the pose. Your bottom leg can be relaxed, or you can bend it and take the sole of the foot to the floor, knee pointing up, whatever feels best. Take long, slow, deep breaths here. So one of the main principles of Yin Yoga is time. The fascia, the connective tissue within the body, needs about 3 minutes to rehydrate, to release the tension that it's been holding, which is why the practice of Yin Yoga is so valuable in releasing long-held tensions. Noticing how your awareness may drift with the progress of a pose. You can always use the breath to come back. And taking our last few breaths here. Bending into the knee, remove the strap. Extend your leg long to meet the left. Deep breath in. Open the mouth, let it go. Noticing any difference you may feel between the left and right side. And taking the strap, looping it around the left sole of foot, and choosing to either bend the right leg or keep it straight. Settle into the pose here. Lightly flex your toes on the left foot. And relax your shoulder blades, relax the face. Relaxing everything except gentle tension in the hands holding the strap. Taking your last few breaths here. Bend into the left leg. Take the strap off your foot and put it aside for now. Allow yourself to settle here in just a baby Shavasana for a minute or so. And bend your knees pointing up, soles of the feet on the floor. And take your right ankle over your left knee and reach and grab the back of the left thigh. If your shoulder, head are coming off the mat, it's always nice to have a block underneath. And if your hands can't quite reach behind the thigh, it's nice to use a strap to lengthen. And flex your right sole of foot. Settle into your Swan Pose, as it's called in Yin Yoga. Maybe make some minor adjustments. Find where you want to be for the next few minutes. Maybe lean over to one side slightly till you find any spot that feels nice. The targeted area here is along the outside of the right hip. Imagine like your hip is like a glacier or a giant iceberg, and releasing the tension bit by bit like it's melting. Notice if your body is allowing you to come to the next edge. And settle into the pose. Taking 3 final breaths here. And you can let go of the bind behind the leg and let this whole situation just tip over to the left. Maybe move that block out of the way. Coming into a twist, so you can rearrange the leg slightly. Maybe take your left hand on top of the right knee and reach the right arm up in a diagonal. If you start to get any tingly feelings in the fingertips, lower the arm. You can also take your hands up in a cactus shape or a goalpost shape. Big breath in. Open the mouth, let it go. Settle here. Noticing the points of contact with the floor. Allow the earth to receive you. You can always take both hands to the rib cage. Taking 5 last deep breaths here. Gently begin to raise the knees, coming out of the twist, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Lift the hips up, reset. Take a few breaths here in center. And crossing your left ankle over top your right hip, maybe placing a block underneath your head. And reaching through, grabbing hold of behind the right thigh. Right away, you may notice that one side of the body is completely different than the other side. And that's okay. Releasing any judgments that something isn't exactly how you expect it to be. Wherever you are right now is perfect. Taking your last few breaths. And release the bind with the hands and tip over to the left side, the right side. Maybe moving the block out of the way. And finding where you want to place your hands. And relax the soles of the feet. And relax the face. Surrender to gravity. Take your last few breaths here. And coming out of the pose, lift your hips up and reset them in the center. And draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And settling into your Shavasana, extending one leg and the other leg. And maybe taking a moment to cover yourself with a blanket. Or placing a prop, like a bolster or a rolled up blanket underneath the knees. And cover your eyes with a shirt or an eye pillow. And your hands can be extended out at your sides, or take right hand to belly, left hand to chest. And allowing the body to relax, starting with the soles of the feet, legs, the hips, and torso and back. Maybe pressing into your elbows, rearranging your shoulder blades until you're comfortable. Relax the jaw, eyebrows, and the face. And take a deep breath in. Open the mouth, let it go. Cleansing breath to settle you in here. Once more, deep breath in. And release. Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen the breath. Maybe wiggle fingers and toes. Take your wrists and ankles in circles. Maybe reach up overhead like you're waking up in the morning. Big cat stretch. And draw one knee into the chest and then the other. Rocking over to one side. Use your bottom forearm as a pillow. Take a few breaths here. Grounding into the mat. And I invite you to say something nice to yourself here. Maybe thanking yourself for the practice. And thanking yourself for the time that you've made. Or thanking your body for what it can do for you. And slowly press into the hands. Coming up into a comfortable seat. And keeping your eyes closed, hands resting on your knees. Noticing the after effects of the practice. Noticing if you feel any greater sense of spaciousness in the mind or the body. And remain seated here or slowly dip the chin and blink the eyes open to take in the rest of the room, to take in the rest of the day. Thank you so much for practicing with me. If you're craving to stay in this energy awareness, check out my channel for more meditations. Or if you'd like, you can lie back in Shavasana and let the energy integrate for a few more moments there.